Hey guys, today we're gonna do a step-by-step build video of this big old liquor box pyramid thing that I got going on. If people will stop messaging me, I've got everything laid out for what we're gonna be doing. The angle's gonna kind of suck, but that's because I'm gonna be building stuff more in front of you and highlighting what we're working with while I have space to put things together. I've already done a few things, like I have sanded everything down, oiled and cleaned up everything that I want to clean up, and painted a few parts. I've pre-assembled 3 of the legs because you guys don't need to watch me do all 4 of them. But on that note, we're gonna go ahead and just build one of these legs real quick so we can finish those up. So the legs are 3 parts. It's a 3-piece sandwich thing we got going on here, and each leg has a pin. Now we're gonna grab these guys. I'm gonna shove these in your face. We're gonna grab these parts, yeah, and we're gonna start putting them together. Now I'm gluing them because I don't want this thing to come apart, like ever. I want it to stay together. Now, even though it's snap fit, I'm still gonna use glue. So I put a little bit of glue on the inside of my little leg piece, and then we're taking the internal sandwich part, and we're just gonna line everything up with the slots. And sometimes I suck at that, but we're just lining stuff up. And I'm gonna take glue, I'm gonna put it on this guy real quick. It's gonna be a long video because I'm gluing as I go. It's gonna stay together forever. So you get your sandwich of leg components. Got 2 brackety pieces, and then, you know, the middle part. And what we got next are these little pins. Little pins on a dish. Little pins. And we are gonna put those in. So you grab your little small, tiny little itty bitty one, shove it through the hole, and you gotta line it up. But once you get that in there, just put another one through the other hole, and that should keep everything nice and straight while we're putting the rest of it together. So, nope, stay in there. So we got those in there, and then we're gonna take the other one, because each one gets 2, and you put it opposite, so the prongs face up or down. You know what, I'm doing that. And then you take this one, and if you wanna make it like really stay in there forever, put glue in the holes. That's what I'm gonna do real quick. I'm gonna actually just do that. I'm gonna just go ahead and just bloop right there. So I just put glue like that on the pin, and then you just get it lined up. I don't know how this is gonna be easy to see or not. Trying, and you just shove it through. Click, done. And you do the same thing for the top and bottom of each leg. Sorry, I've done this like a million times because I've been building this thing over and over and over again, trying to make sure it all is nice. But I think the end result is gonna be quite nice. All right, sorry, kicking y'all around. No, tripod, behave. There we go. All right, so we got all 4 of our legs here. This one's a little messy. I got glue everywhere. All right, well, don't rush like me. Take your time. Make it look pretty. All right, but there we go. We got 4 legs. So the next thing we need to put together is these bad boys. We're gonna need to make 2 of them. I have already built the bottom one, and I've kind of painted it up and everything. The bottom and the top are slightly different, but they're built the same way. So we're gonna start from scratch with the top, and then we're gonna fully assemble the bottom. So, to build our Rhombus of Doom, we're gonna need these things. And then we're gonna need these things. These are our outside brackets that hold this thing together. Now, they're a little tricky. They're a little confusing. So we get our little anchor. Make sure it looks like a little anchor, kinda. And we're gonna get the board and the little loop on the anchor faces outwards. It goes out. So from the back side or the inside of the outside of the triangle, bear with me, the anchor hooks into these side slots. So we go in, we click it in, and then it snaps into place. Now, to make sure it doesn't go anywhere, where did I put them? Did I even get them? Oh, I mixed them up. Well, don't mix up parts. Otherwise you end up like me. These look like the right ones. Yeah. Alright, so you get these tiny little footy pins. These little guys, come on. Is it focused? Yeah. And these little guys go right in there. I'm sorry, it's gonna be like really hard for me to show you this. Well, I shoved these pins in there. Alright. So, there we go. As you can see, the little anchor has those tiny little footy spots. Maybe you can't see. Boom. The little anchor's got those little footy spots, and then these tiny little pins go in like that between, and the wood goes between it, and it keeps it from going anywhere. We need to do that on one side of all 4 of these panels. So we're gonna shove that in there, and we're gonna shove the little pin in there, and they're tight. Like, that's a tight, ridiculous fit, because I don't want this thing falling apart. So do one side, get the next one, and we're gonna do the same thing. Same thing, yeah. Double check myself there. Am I doing the same thing? I think I'm doing the same thing. Maybe I should have done a couple of these off camera, but I didn't. And I don't feel like starting over because I don't edit stuff, because I don't know how. But we're here now, so we're in for the long haul. But it starts coming together pretty quickly once we start putting it together. Almost done putting the little anchor brackets into the pyramid face. Now, again, when I say these are a tight fit, they're tricky to get in there. You're gonna have to really kind of wiggle them. But there we go. One more to go. For all the struggling I have done with these, trying to like wiggle these little bastards in there, I haven't broken one. So that's a plus. They hold up to abuse. All right, here we go. Last one. All right, so we've gotten all of those put together as such. Now we're just gonna link them together. So we're gonna go ahead and pop it in there. And we're gonna do the next side. And then, you guessed it, we're gonna do the next side. Now, the reason we're going a little bit slow and we're doing it the way we did it is because this is the tricky part. we're gonna put these two together, and when I tell you to be forcefully gentle, I don't nuance. When you're putting these in together, get one side into place. Notice I haven't put pins to lock these in quite yet. The bottom bracket inside here. All right. I'm sorry, I don't know how to face the camera. This one, you gotta be a little bit careful. When it comes to popping these ones into place, forcefully gentle. I say they're sturdy, but don't go beating a goat to death with it yet. There it goes. And once it pops into place, it will click and like pop into place. Alrighty. So next, we are going to lock everything into place with those pins I was talking about. Well, not talking about, but have been using so far. So let's go ahead. No. All right, well actually I just didn't actually click in. There it goes. Now it's actually clicked in. All right, so I'm gonna take all these little pins and we're gonna shove them in here. And as I get these faces together, I'm sorry, I work from this side, so maybe I should put the camera over here. What about that? How about we do this? Flying, y'all are moving. Whoop! What is happening? Maybe that'll be a bit better? Because right. Sorry, it took me like, what, 13, 14 minutes to figure that out, and we're still, bear with me. Technical difficulties on the camera side of things. Would you look at what I'm working on? Just a little bit? Just a little bit. Now. There we go. All right, I think that's a bit better. All right, so we're shoving pins into these spaces that are left behind by, well, not really left behind, they're there for a reason. And we're just going to shove you in there violently. There. And next. I mean, I did one of these off camera, so you get it. But we need to do some of it together. Wow, good God. Is this not popped in? Having doubts. No, there it goes. Wasn't fully popped in. All right. The tolerances on this are stupid. They're very tight. And I didn't really leave much room for error, so it's not popped in all the way. I mean, it looks like it is, and you're gonna be like struggling with it like I just did. But she's gonna be so solid. Get in there. Ooh, as I command. Now I've turned it away from the camera. I know exactly what I've done. The moment I did that. There we go. Well, here we go. And this is why I say be forcefully gentle, a little bit of nuance. I popped one of the brackets, so that kind of sucks. Well, I ain't fixing it right now. We'll fix it later. You notice I haven't used any glue yet, because we don't need to yet. All right, there we go. We have finally put together the top of what is going to be our Rhombus of Doom, or at least the outer shell of it. So we're going to move right along into the next phase of putting it together. Oh, there's that little piece I broke. All right, and the next phase of that is going to be putting the faces onto the face. And my dumb butt actually doesn't have... Cinnamon, go barking, come on. You dummy, go back to sleep. You don't have to bark. I forgot a piece, or 4 pieces. I'm a dummy. These will help when it comes to putting the rest of it together. I forgot I painted them, they were drying. So, we're gonna move along, but at this stage, I'm actually gonna put this one down because it's exactly where the bottom is, and we need to, building the bottom would be a little bit more helpful first, right? So, in the same stage, all of these pieces are in. I didn't break any of these ones because I was forcefully gentle. We're gonna need these guys next. We're gonna need all of these, and then we're gonna need our triangle tippy tips because they're gonna be going on like such. And let's go ahead and just put them all 4, kind of cradled. They won't really go anywhere, but they're hard to get on if these are on first. And these hook into our little anchory bracket kind of things that I have. You see how it's all coming together. And I painted this, so it's gonna be real tight. There we go. Some of the paint's kind of done. Is what it is, guys. Is what it is. Paint make wood fatter. I forget about that sometimes. Paint is a layer. Thin layer, but it will sometimes need to be accounted for on some fancy stuff. Or just forgotten about, and we can just make it look like crap. Oh man, paint on that one really came off. It'll look a little rustic. There we go. All right, so we've got what I call the spines in place, and we've got the tips in there. And see, they don't really, they'll come out, but man, they don't really want to. All right, so next up, to keep the spines in place, we've got more parts. So many more. And now we're gonna be using these little triangles and these little pins that when placed side by side kind of look like pie. But this is what we need now. And with these goo, we're going to, let me see on the bottom here, see? We're gonna put them through the slots, and they're gonna hold our spines in place. And you guessed it, guys, pins. So these are done a little bit differently. And it's gonna, I'm gonna have to show you in pictures as well, I suppose. But these ones, this is imposterous. I can't tell what y'all see. I really don't know. So it might be visible, it might not be. I'm kicking y'all again. I really just, because there's some subtle shit. All right, so this one, would you, where does it need to be? Right there? Okay, there. The right side of it has like flat edges and the left side has a rounded point. The rounded point needs to go in to the rhombus and face the opposite of the direction of the triangle. So this one's pointing up. We want this rounded tip to face down. And I'm sorry I had to actually go through that, but it's a thing, it makes a difference. It makes a very slight difference, and not just the aesthetic, but the way it fits together. So, there, triangle, triangle, and we get the rounded foot pin and the flat pie pin. Rounded foot faces into the triangle and opposite the direction of the one we are pinning down. And then we're gonna add the pin. So now that spine, it ain't going nowhere. And I'm not gonna illustrate all of those. We'll move on to the next part, which is going back to our legs. And we're gonna get this guy flipped over. We're gonna add the legs. So the legs go through our tips and our shell. So take our legs and not attach them to the shell. Maybe I should have done these first. We're learning as we go. It would help if I really just keep everything lined up. It really would. All right, stay there. You in. There we go. Do it like this. Do it upside down so it all stays in the places it needs to. So we're gonna go like this, like this, like that, like this, like this, like that, like this, like that, like this, and like that. Bum, bum. Oh, well, actually, sorry, I'm a dummy. I don't want these ever coming apart. I don't want this wiggling ever. These are one of the things that I want to stay. So let me stupidly move stuff around and put some glue on my pieces here. Sorry. We're doing this together, I said, because this one's mine. And we're just gonna slide that back in. Oh man, don't be messy with it like me, guys. Don't be messy with the glue. Do the glue right. And so on your legs, you can put some glue right in between these layer sandwiches and that the little pin arm thing. Just a little bit in there. Don't go too crazy like me. So it's gonna go everywhere and look like crap. But it's mine, it's not going anywhere. It'll look nice when it's done, I'm sure. Aside from some glue mess. But I should really just be a little bit more. There we go. A little bit nicer. We'll do that side instead of putting it right onto the face, because now I'm gonna have to get in there once it's dry and do some polish. Bop. So there's another leg. We're gonna pop in a little drop of glue right there. And we're gonna go snappy fit right in there. And it's not quite snappy fit, actually. I'm lying when I tell you that this part is snappy fit. As you can see, I mean, that would just pop right out. There's a really simple pin inside there that's gonna be the answer to these running away. Pins are helpful. Everything's lining up nicely. Everything's gonna fit together nicely. All these interlocking parts are gonna become super solid interlocking, well, parts, layers. And because they all interlock, nothing should fall apart, like, ever. Especially because I'm gluing them. There we go. So, we've added all of our little feet wall things. Now the next easy thing to do is to get the base put together. The base is 3 parts. And we're gonna get all of our octagons, our crazy octagon and our other octagons. Sandwiching, super simple stuff. Smallest on top, then the next one, etc., etc., blah, 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 blah. So the legs are gonna reach through and grab, line it up, Nick, there you go. We're gonna grab these slotted holes and stuff. So what I want to do is put some glue on the underside of this one. See me, what you doing, girl? My doggy's on the couch over there. That's like her couch. I don't ever sit on that. She does. Alright, so we're gonna put glue on these vertical, or in the middle of these slots, and then they slot in between these legs, and we should have a nice solid binding between the legs and the base. Yeah, that's already looking good. Now, I'm a dummy and my legs are wrong. Your legs will go through all 3 layers of the base. Mine don't. So, I have to manually line up this layer with the glue and stuff. Not a big deal. Little annoying. I don't like manually aligning this stuff. I like to just kind of plug and play. And while there's a lot to this, it is pretty plug and play. Like, we're just gonna get it all purified, put together. There we go. My dummy legs don't go through. It's fine. It's fine. It is what it is. Yeah, there we go. Nice. So that's on. And now we gotta make sure it doesn't detach from the inside. Oh, you gotta be careful. Don't wiggle it, Nick. Because your bottom base isn't lined up. There we go. All right. It's gonna be really hard for me to show you these. But the legs that reach inside, they've got little Harry Potter thing there. Teeth. And this is a really simple solution, and it might change in the future, but right now, those teeth just grab this tiny little rectangle. We're gonna put a drop of glue on the back of our little rectangle. And then I am going to show you, I'm trying to figure out the best way to grab this thing and show you, because I'm a dummy and I put that in there. I'll take a picture. That's my solution. But I'm gonna reach in here and just slide this rectangle between the teeth. And it's just gonna line up. And now those legs, because the rectangle is in the way, the legs can't come out. Well, I mean, they could if the rectangle moves, but since I'm gonna glue it in, I mean, it shouldn't move. And this is one of the few things, like with the base needing to be glued together, it's one of the few things that isn't actually snap fit, because I couldn't figure out how to make that work with these parts. And I'm sorry, but that was a limitation that I had to deal with. And y'all just gonna listen to me talk about all kinds of stuff, or you're gonna mute me. You're just gonna be like, you know what, Nick, we're done talking. Whisper into the camera right next to it. There we go. And maybe I'll let's show this to you a different way. The glue. Get in there. This is the first time I've actually done this step. And I will say, y'all are gonna have a way easier time of it, because I've changed a couple pieces since putting this together, and y'all are definitely gonna get an improved, easier to put together build. But that wasn't bad. That wasn't bad. So let's see if we can get in there and take a look. Way down here, those are where the teeth are, and I just slide the rectangles in from the side down there at the bottom, and that's how that works. All right, so we've got kind of a cool little chalice thing going on, right? Right. Well, it's still got more to go. We've got to attach these triangles. We've got to get our lovely fan triangle put together, and these actually just go on the outside faces. And these are what's gonna add just a little bit of extra detail. And they just kind of notch in and sit. And then to keep them from going everywhere, here's where the real fun begins. And when I say that, I say it sarcastically, because it's not really fun, but I mean, it's kind of fun if you like to build stuff. Like, I like Legos and shit, so. We need these. We need all of these little guys. And then for the bottom, well, for the bottom part, we need these guys. We need these 4 large little triangles with little feet. And then we need the 8 other, these things. I don't know, these weird little fish hook thingamajigs. We're gonna need these because these are our shelving brackets. So let's start with the big ones that go on the bottom. The little foot goes down, it like clicks. We're using gravity here. So we're gonna put that in the bottom slot. It's gonna come through the hole, get our triangle, line it up, and then click down. It's got it. Let's go ahead and go around and do all 4 just like this, or actually just to make sure it doesn't fall forward, let's use these. Same scenario, the little foot goes in and then clicks down. So in, there you go, click down. In, and click down. And what we're gonna wanna do is we're gonna wanna put in our little footy brackety pins. Each one of these gets 3 of these really small, all by their lonesome pins. Ooh, I don't know if I cut all of these. I might have to go fire up the forge real quick. So, that's easy though. So we got all these little pins. These go through the triangles. And you want to do this before you do anything else on these. You want to get these in here and just line them up, push them in. There we go. Yeah, these are gonna hold the outer walls in place. Now, they might not really seem like they're gonna hold anything in place right now, but I assure you, on the next stage, you were gonna be like, huh, well, I'll be. They sure did. maybe you won't. Maybe you have faith in my skills, or you don't. I don't know. I don't know what else to talk about. It's either that. It's either I talk and ramble to you and the dog, or we sit here in silence and we think about stuff. I don't want to do that. Don't make me think about stuff. Man, I really forgot that paint makes stuff a little harder to put together. All right. But, yeah, I'm sorry, you get just stare at the back of my head. Isn't that cool? But, yeah, just go around, and we're going to put all of these on. Then we're going to put the little pins in the vacancy slots to keep them in place. Now, the top is way simpler to put together. That's why we're going over this step by step. Because the top doesn't have shelving brackets or anything. It doesn't need to hold anything. So it's sans shelving brackets. Just moving right along. There. All right. So as you can see, we've got kind of like the sandworm thing from like Star Wars, whatever that thing was, like a tremor maw looking thing. And that's what we're working with. Oh yes, all these pins must go in. I cannot stress this enough. If you do not put these outer pins in to these sub-triangle panel walls, the next stage, you're gonna curse my name. You are gonna be like, no, Nick, what have we done? And I've told you, we're doing stuff. Because reasons, things are happening. Yeah, I totally forgot to cut the extra set of these for the top. That's gonna be a little annoying. Oh well, we'll make do. All right, so we've got the outer triangles all locked into place. We've got our base, we've got our spines, we've got a pretty cool, God, that is gonna look neat. I'm sorry. Pretty cool base. So let's get the next piece going on here, and that's gonna be this board that I keep using to try and highlight stuff with. I'm sorry, we're losing it now, and it's going in here because this is the shelf that the bottle can actually stand on. And we're just gonna slot this in, and it sits on top of just those 4 larger brackets in there. And you're gonna be like, well, Nick, these are really, really wiggly. And I'm gonna tell you right now, never fear. Don't worry about the wiggle. The wiggle's gonna disappear very quick. It's gonna be a little tedious to work with while we make it disappear, but it's gonna disappear. All right, so we got that in there, and now we need this. This is the shelf that the shot glasses sit on. And that attaches to the bottom space of these other brackets that are on top. Now, here's where everything, you're gonna be like, this isn't right. And it's not, that's true. Everything is slightly off on this part by a couple millimeters, if that, because we need it to stay together. So we're going to, once again, gently create outward force and push these in. There we go. So it's gonna be really tight fit from here on out. So just gently nudge the shelf down towards its little slot, or towards the little slotted feet that will go into the slots. They might want to wiggle on you. Just kindly tell them to get in the hole, because that's where they're going to live from here on out. There we go. Spin, rotate, gently nudge down. Spin, rotate, gently nudge down. Get an email that you're never gonna look at. There we go. Sounds like it's just terrible, doesn't it? Creaking and popping. Nice. And what do as I command. Stay in there. I accidentally unseated the bottom shelf that the bottle sits on. And this is a struggle that I believe everybody should endure. Well, not necessarily. I just don't know how to make this a little bit easier. It's not difficult per se, especially if you have like a pen to like knock that pin back where it needs to go. Stay! You're so close. I believe in you. You want to become a complete product. finished piece. Yes, you do there. All right, beautiful. All right, so after that ordeal, we are now having an internal structure being built. All right, next up, we've got this bad boy. And this is like the first part of the top gaskety kind of thingamajig going on here. And it goes, as you can plainly see, right on the top of all these shelving brackets. And same scenario, it's gonna be a little tight. We gotta go in it together. There we go. All right. When we're lining up the pins, what I'm gonna do is use my big old pink belly here and brace everything against me, and I'm gonna push in the bottom with my fingers and try and pop the top into place. It's way more difficult than it sounds, honestly. This part kind of sucks, and I apologize for it, but I really didn't know what else to do to make sure it stays. There it goes. All right, so with these, just kind of make sure you get your pins lined up beforehand, or the brackets, and do not put pressure there. Come on. You did this yesterday just fine. There. These ones. There's one. Well, I am thoroughly struggling with this last one. It just doesn't want to line up because it's crooked. That doesn't help me. There. There we go. All right. So if it's not crooked, it pops together, and don't do what I was doing. Do it what we're learning. I just learned a valuable lesson because I broke this. I broke one of these retainers, so I gotta cut this whole damn thing again, or very carefully glue it and pretend it never happened. But it's mine, so when it comes to put this on, we learned a lesson. Push from the brackets this way and use your fingers in the shot glass holes to pull to you and push the bottom in, and that'll slide these brackets into place. Now, that bit of nonsense does two things. The layer underneath is pushing outwards. It's creating the outward pressure that is forcing everything to not move. And the top one is now pulling everything in. So, by their powers combined, we have created a very, very sturdy, locked in place box. Next up on our list of things to do is put the barrel together inside. And that's where these parts come in. And this is pretty simple. Hopefully. Get our design, if you put the design on it, put the feet in the bottom, one side in first, and then here's where we learn a new lesson. We need to pull up, line these little turds up. Get in there. All right. So, and then instantly do the opposite side of the one you did. So if you did one here, do that one over there, because that's gonna keep everything in place. Because while you're pushing down on that stupid shelf that I can't figure out how to get to stay still when you're doing everything, now it's never moving, ever. So get the opposite side in, push down, lift up, slide in the notches, and then just compass rose this. Go back and forth while I struggle. Y'all see this? Like, this is exactly what I go through. You're like, if you don't want to put this together, you're gonna suffer right along with me. But you're gonna have a cool, hopefully, end result. So we're just going around in circles. You put this in. Like a dummy, Nick. Come on, put the peg in the hole. There you go. Boom. And the next one. Slot the feet in there. Slot the feet in there. There. Feet. And now that bottom tray, because it is being pushed down now by all of these, it can't rotate, it can't spin, it can't twist, and now we've got downward and upwards pressure being applied across this structure. All right, so there's the barrel. It's all inside, and I guess I feel kind of bad. I feel like I should have put a design in there. Y'all can do that when you do yours. Oh yeah, okay, here we go. These little guys. It's another kind of pin. I know, I'm sorry, but there's 8 of them. There's only 8 of these ones, and they're just T-pins. And on that piece that I broke, it's a very thin part, but it needed to be that way. We're just gonna slot these in here, and we can use glue or not use glue, I guess, at this point. I've glued together the parts that I really need to stay together so it doesn't wiggle. The base, mostly, and the legs. Everything else on this just refuses to give way once you hit a certain point. Or maybe it'll just all implode, I don't know. I really don't know. All right, so all 8 of those are now safely ensconced inside there. And those keep these from wiggling around. We're getting very close to being done. So we're gonna add another layer to this. We're gonna take this piece, and there's a big difference, guys, between these 3 similar triangles. First off, this one of these has no notches here, like this one does. Notches. The ones with the notches go for your top. The one without the notch goes on the bottom. And it should just really get angry and not want to go anywhere. Because it's slightly off. There we go. So you can glue it, you can not glue it, you can do it if you want to. We're still working on the base. It just doesn't end. I did not stop with this. It kept going. More stuff. We got trapezoids, which, oh man, I forgot to clean these up. All right, good thing I'm not gluing this part yet. So these little guys have notches that line up with these notches here on the inside. See? We're just gonna put these like that, and then these 4 have 4 unique pins. Yeah, again, more unique pins, Nick. Pins. They also have these kind of like weird, rounded, like footy mabob pins. On these ones, the tall part goes up. The big part goes up, and this piece faces in this piece faces out. So put the foots in the hole, put the foot in the hole. There we go. Push that out, push this in, and we're not going anywhere. All right, and you'll see what these do. They are kind of aesthetically pleasing. I don't know, I kind of like them. I feel like we kind of have like some kind of cross thing going on inside now, but I kind of like the patterns that have been developing on this project. Because I was asked to be all like Egyptian, and I gotta admit, I tossed that right out the window. I didn't do it. I was like, not really feeling pharaohs and stuff right now. But I will make a rhombus. There we go. What are we at? 51 minutes now, guys. Y'all are troopers. My phone or the camera, well, the camera's still good. Cool. Phone, however, we're approaching the end. All right. The thing to note now that we have all these in, these kind of just keep the lid from twisting when we put the lid on. Now we got holes. These are my holes. These holes fit my little stupid magnets, my little 5 by 5 by 5 millimeter cube magnets, and I'm just gonna put those in those holes. You put different magnets in there. I don't really suggest my cubic magnets. They're cute, but they're not very helpful. And with that, if we put the magnets in there, that is actually finishing up our Blanton's stand. And I honestly feel like it could probably stand like this. If, you know, you leave out these little holes, this is a finished piece in my opinion. But if we want to take it next step further, we can. And I'm sorry, we're gonna sit here for a little bit longer while I show you this because it's a little bit different. The top, since it doesn't have shelves, it has simpler bracketing systems. In fact, it uses just the two up here, and all of these are just pins. But let's go ahead and we're gonna go. We're going the distance this time. No feet up top. So, like I said, it's gonna be way easier. These pins, I mean, it doesn't really matter how we assemble these ones, honestly. We can do this however we want to do it. Since these are just guiding ones, there's no structural whatevers to them. And that's why I saved this for last. Because once this is done, 'tis done. Tee-hee. And he threw it on the ground. Right. You know what? We're at like an hour. You don't need to see me doing those. So what I am gonna show you is well, I mean, it's basically the same thing. We gotta put these in, so let's do one here. And the difference this go around is there's no shelf bracket down on that one. We are simply putting the gasket, as I like to call it, together. So I'm sorry, y'all gonna have to bear with me. To show you the gasket getting put together, I kinda gotta do all of it. Or, I mean, I guess I don't really have to. But, okay, well, I don't have the pins, first and foremost. Well, I can sub these in the time being until I go cut the appropriate ones, because they're all the same thickness. That's gonna bite me in the butt. I know it is. Let's see here. Dun, 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 dun. There we go. All right, so pen. Get in there. There. right, we'll do that one. So at this stage, we're basically mimicking that, but we're using the smaller brackets because all we're doing is putting on these last 2 layers like such. And as you can see, I still haven't done the inside of this part. The lid doesn't really matter too much, for me at least, but you add these, and then when we do, I'm sorry, I can't just like halfway do this. We're going the distance. I said it, we're doing it. I don't have the right pins for it, but I'm gonna show you with the lid attached. It needs the lid on it. We gotta put the lid on. It's not a done project till we put the cover on it. I don't know if that's a thing, but it is today. It is. Well, I mean, it's still not gonna be done, but I will feel like this video will have closure if I can just put the lid on. So we're gonna do what we need to do. Put this lid on. Put the lid on. Put the lid on. Man, I'm glad I printed out so many of these. And that's something y'all might want to do too, is like, I mean, I will correctly get the appropriate amount of pins into the files, but it wouldn't hurt to just have some on hand. So, well, that'll be fine. So we'll do those 2, and so the larger one goes on the bottom. Because this isn't gonna get fully done on camera, you put the next one on like such, and then I guess we would have to glue if it doesn't, you know, once these things are attached, if it doesn't build enough pressure, we'd have to glue it together. But when it's all said and done, it should. There it goes. I'll get pictures of the fully finished version, but as of right now, that's it. That's what we're looking at. And then we take it off. I'm proud of myself on this one. 57 minutes. You guys are 58. Y'all are troopers. Thanks for sticking it out. We'll go over, I'll have pictures and everything for those that, you know, when sometimes to get the files, there will be all the information you need, and we can look at this video. And bye.